Hello all, welcome to No-Cert Guide. This is a very first video in Linux series. In this session, we will be discussing about introduction of Linux, which it covers what is an operating system, fundamentals of Linux, Linux components, Linux distributions, Linux setup, and package managers. Let's discuss what is an operating system. An operating system is a system software that acts as a bridge between the user and computer hardware. Without an OS, users cannot interact with hardware such as CPU, RAM, disk, keyboard, or network devices. Okay, let's assume there is an user. So he wants to download a video into the system. Okay, so first he will log into the system and then he will try to download it from the internet. So how he will be accessing it? Through OS, he can access it. So here OS means either he tries to download it from the GUI or CLI. Okay, so OS is responsible to allocate certain space to the downloaded video. Okay, so the main responsibilities of an OS is process management. If you run any application, so OS is responsible to allocate some CPU to the particular application. And memory management. So if a user tries to run any application, so first it will allocate the RAM. And if it gets deleted or if we kill the process, so okay, so the RAM will be whatever the application was occupying, so the RAM will gets free. Okay, so it will allocate it and it will clear the RAM when the application gets exit. And file system management. Okay, so if you try to create a file or directories, it will be stored in data on disks. Okay, and device management. Device management are nothing but like a keyboard, mouse, printer, network cards. So these are all comes under the device management. And security. Security mainly considers about your passwords and permissions. Okay, access control. So these comes under the security. Main examples of operating system. So here we have almost five operating system mainly. Okay, so Linux, Mac OS, Android, iOS. Today in this session we will be discussing about Linux. So let's see what is fundamentals of Linux. So before going to it, what is Linux? Linux is an open source operating system based on Unix. Currently, 60% of market share for server operating system. That means 60% uh, of the software applications are running on Linux servers. Okay, so Linux was created by Linus Torvalds. Okay, the main key features of a Linux is open source. It is a multitasking. It is very secure and it is a stable and portable. Okay, why Linux is popular? So we know. So it is very user friendly. Okay, and free to use, highly customizable. Use it in servers. Use it in cloud computing like AWS, Azure, GCP, and we have used it in containers or Kubernetes as well. Um, So mainly where Linux is used. So we know, so we have a web servers, AWS EC2 instances, or any cloud providers like AWS, Azure, GCP, and Kubernetes clusters. So Linux components. So earlier we have seen the operating system, right? So same way. So earlier, if you see here, normal OS operation will look like user OS and hardware. Here, same as it is user Linux OS hardware. Now, what is the meaning of it? So when a user try to access the computer, example student, teacher, developer, anyone in the any user, then user tries to access any application. Let's assume playing a video or creating a file or running an application. Okay, so that will be communicated to the OS. So the OS acts as a middleman between the user and hardware. Okay, so the OS receives requests from the user and communicates with the hardware. Example, when you click on Google Chrome, what it will happen in behind is, let's assume a user clicks Chrome, OS loads Chrome into memory, OS allocates the CPU and RAM, hardware executes the instructions which was communicated by OS, Results are shown to the user on the display. Without an OS, the user cannot effectively use the hardware. Okay. Examples of OS. So earlier I have shown you right? Linux, Windows, Mac OS, Android, iOS. Let's go for hardware. Okay. So hardware is nothing but physical component of a computer, like anything like a CPU, RAM, hard disk, a keyboard, a mouse, monitor, network, or so hardware actually it won't work by itself. So OS needs to give the instructions, and hardware will take the commands from the OS. Linux mainly consists of the following components. Okay, so we have seen like a user, OS, and then the hardware. Okay, so the main components in OS are shell, kernel. Okay, kernel is the heart of Linux. The main responsibilities of kernel is CPU scheduling, memory management, device drivers, process management, file systems. Example, if you run uname-r, it will display the kernel versions. We will see later in the session. And shell. So shell is nothing but an interface between user and kernel. So popular shells is we have bash, ZSH, KSH, fish. So example, if you run ls, if you run pwd, mkdir, these are all shell commands. So when you run this shell command, the kernel it will send the communication to the kernel. So the kernel will speak with hardware. Accordingly, it will display the commands. Now let's see file system. Okay, so we in this architecture, if you see user, shell, kernel, hardware, but where this file system and applications comes from. Okay, so here OS equal to not OS equal to not kernel plus shell. So OS equal to kernel plus shell plus a system utilities plus a file system plus library services. Okay, so that's why we will be discussing about the file system. Okay, everything in Linux is treated as a file. So let's assume, so if you create any file, any directory, so you will be storing inside the file system. The main important directories are bin, etc, home, var, user, temp, opt. Let's move to applications. Here applications is nothing but Chrome, Firefox, Docker, Kubernetes tools, etc. Okay, so these are all the applications. Any application like a Java, anything is an application. The kernel and shell are important part of an OS, but they are not the entire OS. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, so the kernel and shell are important parts of an OS, but they are not the entire OS. So OS equal to kernel plus shell plus system utilities plus file system plus libraries plus services. Okay, so we have seen kernel, shell, file system, and services. Okay, services are nothing but the here applications. Okay, so what are system utilities? System utilities is nothing but the certain commands like ls, uh, copy command. These are all system utilities. Okay, so these are something which we use to communicate with the shell. We'll be using in the shell. Okay, and then libraries. So libraries are nothing but a code. Okay, so a code which it will be helpful to run an application. Okay, so these are all libraries. Let's discuss Linux distributions. What is a distribution? A Linux distribution is a complete operating system built around the Linux kernel. Here, Linux distribution consists of Linux kernel, shell, utilities, package manager, libraries, services, applications. Okay. Uh, in the market we have a lot of distributions are there, so you can see all these distributions right from Ubuntu, Debian, RHEL, Rocky Linux, Alma Linux, CentOS Stream, Fedora, SUSE. Okay, so why these are all so many Linux distributions? The Linux kernel is a open source. Okay, so anyone can take the kernel and build their own operating system around it. Okay, so in future, if you know, if you have knowledge to create an operating system, so you can build an operating system on your on the Linux kernel. So since it is an open source, okay. So the main interview question for this Linux distribution will be Ubuntu and RHEL. So these are all the main leading OSs in the market. Okay, so you will get the question like what is the difference between Ubuntu and RH here? Okay, so Ubuntu is mainly runs on the Debian based, so it is having .deb package one, so it builds on it will install the .deb packages, or it runs the .deb packages, and it uses apt as a command. Okay, so if you try to install any package, we will use apt. Okay, let's assume if you want to install Python, apt Python or apt get Python, if you want to install it from the internet. And then we have a Red Hat Enterprise Linux. So here enterprise focus. This is an enterprise focus. So this is a where something very big companies will be using it. So it will be very secure, stable, and the guys who are offering this operating system, they assure maintenance or the vendor support will be there. So all these benefits will be there. So that's why these are all this is an enterprise focused one. Okay, so mainly we go for the security, stable, and if we get stuck with or if you have any issue in the OS, or if your OS is broken, okay, so you will get a support from the vendor. Okay, and it uses yum, like you see app, no, so it will use yum, so like yum Python or DNF. Okay, so this is the Linux distribution. Let's see Linux setup. So Linux mainly we can set up in four ways. Okay, so this is something virtual machine, so you can run a virtual box on your system, like an application. So let's assume you are having a Windows or Mac, so you can download the virtual box, and then you can you have to download an image, and then you have to run the Linux server. Okay, so that is a one way. And we have a dual boot. Dual boot is nothing but installing two operating systems in your same computer. So when you are logging in, so it will display two operating systems. So which one would you like to log in, either Windows or Linux? So it will display like that. So this is something, it acquires more space, and some if while you are installing your Linux, if it gets corrupt, it will affect the other operating system as well. So uh, it's better not to stress your computer more. Okay, and we have a cloud VM, so this one we are going to see in few minutes. And we have Windows subsystem for Linux, so you can usually you can run the Linux environment kind of thing on Windows. So you just need to run wsl-hyphen install in CMD. For me, I don't want to put more stress, and I don't want to install any extra applications in my system. So I will be going with Cloud VM. Okay, in Cloud VM, I will be using AWS EC2. Okay, so in AWS EC2, let me take you to the AWS console. Okay, so if you are new to the AWS console, I will walk you through. So this is the AWS console. So here you can see the your user, and you can see here the regions, and all you need to do is search for EC2. Okay, so here EC2 is nothing but Elastic Compute Cloud. So it provides your OSs, any OS like Linux, Windows, Mac OS, everything. Okay, so just search for EC2, click on EC2. I recommend to use a free tier account. Okay, so click on launch instance. Okay, so I'm going without walkthrough. Okay, I will be giving a name, Linux. Here you can see multiple OSs. So we have Amazon Linux, Mac OS, Ubuntu, Windows, Red Hat. We have multiple. Okay, so you can select anything. For me, I will be going with Red Hat. Then here you have to select the instance type. Okay, so since you are creating a free tier, since you are using free tier account, You have to select the free tier eligible. So free tier eligible won't charge any money. Okay. Now you need to create a key pair. Okay, so click on create a key pair. So I have given a name to Linux, select a PPK. If you are connecting from Windows to Linux, or if you want to connect from the CLI to CLI, like a virtual machine to your EC2 instance, you have to use PEM. If you are using PuTTY, Mobile Extreme, so any tools, Windows tools, so you have to use .ppk. Otherwise, you can go for .pem. So I'm going for .pem. Okay. Okay. Now I will keep rest of the things as it is. I will click on launch instance. So go to view instances. Okay. So currently you can see it is showing as running. Let's wait a few more seconds. We should show status check like a 2 by 2 or 3 by 3. Okay. Our server is ready. You can see 2 by 2 checks passed. Let's connect to the server. So if it is an Amazon Linux, so directly we can click on connect, and it will take you to the EC2 instance connect. And if you click on connect directly, you can connect to the Linux server from the Windows from this browser itself. But since you are using Red Hat OS, we can't connect to the from we can't connect from the browser. So we are going to use the mobile extreme to connect to the server. Now we are in the mobile extreme. Click on session. First click on SSH. Enter your IP. You can collect the IP from here. Enter your IP here. Default username will be EC2-user. Go to advanced SSH setting. Click on use private key. Click on linux.pem, which we have downloaded. Click on OK. So I am inside the server. So if I do cat space slash etc OS release, you can see the details. I am using Red Hat Linux version 10.1, RHEL, Fedora. Okay, so don't bother about this comment. So we will discuss this later. Okay, so this is how we have to connect to the Linux server. Okay, so going forward, we will be running all our commands in this Linux server. Okay, now let's move to the last topic, package manager. What is a package manager? A package manager is nothing but a tool used to install, upgrade, remove the softwares, and it will resolve the dependencies. Okay, so if it is a Ubuntu OS, we will use the apt package manager. If it is a RHEL, Rocky, or Alma, we use M or DNF. Okay, so to install a package in Debian or Ubuntu, we use the apt install command. So let's assume now we are installing Nginx, means apt install Nginx. And if you are if you are trying to update any service, means apt update, and then the service name here, we can mention the service name. And same, so if you try to upgrade the system, so we will use the apt upgrade. Okay, same goes for M as well. So if you try to install any server, we use the sudo m install nginx. Or if you are if it is a DNF, we'll use a DNF install nginx. So package manager is nothing but to install any software, we will be using the package manager. So by default, for Ubuntu, we use Ubuntu or Debian, we use apt. If it is RHEL, Rocky, Alma, we use yum. So with this, we will be closing our session 1, introduction of Linux. Thank you.